Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, hang tight. I got to do one other thing.
Sure.
Being muted. Turn off here. Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, I can hear you. All right. All right, Richard, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So
So, you
just to,
said the peptides I ordered, TB500 in particular, are illegal.
yes, they're illegal according to Canadian law.
So, they're not. They are legal to be sold so long as they're sold as research chemicals. And there's particular guidelines on selling things as research chemicals. They can be sold to the public. You just can't say that they do a particular thing like, oh, this is good for building muscle, this and that. You have to explicitly say this is for research purposes only, not for human consumption. But they are not illegal to be sold. They're not illegal to buy, as long as you follow, those guidelines on selling, and they are legal to possess and use for personal consumption.
Richard, define the word research. What does that mean? What is its intended use as far as when someone is buying research chemicals?
So the research label only applies to the seller. If the buyer wants to use them for personal use, that's their prerogative.
No, they're only legal if they're purchased for research purposes.
Nope,
Are you using it for research purposes?
I don't need to. It only
Okay.
applies to the seller.
Okay. I would doubt that the Canadian Mounties will be knocking down your door. I say that they're illegal because I read the laws as far as SARMs are concerned. Peptides are pretty much SARMs.
They're not.
Now,
They're entirely different compounds.
okay. So, I mean, there's not really a way to settle that. You say that it's legal. I say that it's illegal. I never even asked if you even started using peptides or not.
Yeah, I did a course of TB500.
By the way, these are vegan noodles. There's no meat or anything, so no,
Okay.
I'm not trying to eat in front of you. But but you've I didn't hear that. Did you start using the peptides?
I did one 10-day course of TB500.
Okay, and it didn't work for you, did it?
No, it did. For the reason I took it for, it did.
Okay, so what was your end result?
So my shoulder pain almost went away completely, and the pain in my right knee almost went away completely.
Well, good for you. Are you intending to take more of it?
So I don't think I'm going to take TB500, at least not right now. I'm thinking I might try BPC 157.
BPC, so many peptides out here. Interesting. And Richard, just out of curiosity, and I think I mentioned this for you before, why aren't you consulting a doctor as far as your shoulder issues are concerned and just going out off the end and trying to do your own medical work?
There isn't really anything a doctor can do for me. Like the only thing they're going to say is rest. Outside of prescribing me like painkillers or just telling me not to do anything or getting like really complex imaging done, like an MRI, in the case that I might need surgery, like that's the only thing they're really going to be able to do for me.
Okay. You sound a little low energy today. Is everything okay?
Yeah, like I've been particularly depressed lately. That might be why my voice is kind of slow and dull.
Okay, I got you on that. I mean, there's not really much to debate as far as because no matter what I actually say, you're going to think that these peptides are legal. Well, let's push that
Well,
to the side here. Let's
I
push that to the side here
I
because
want to see evidence that they are illegal for personal consumption. So if you happen to get into possession of these peptides, show me where in the Canadian Criminal Code peptides are illegal to possess and use.
I've already showed you the link. It's not going to say that particular peptide in particular because there's hundreds of different
It
peptides.
didn't mention anything about peptides. The only I saw the link you gave me and I read it completely. The only thing that
Pep-
was mentioned was SARMs, and it only gave out guidelines for sellers. So they only crack down on sellers. Again, these drugs, there's nothing in the Canadian Criminal Code prohibiting their use for personal use.
okay. Do you think your country would agree? I mean, what's the best way to phrase this? Do you think Canadian law was intended for someone to purchase research chemicals for personal use?
So Canada is a little unique to the United States, where when it comes to drugs and drug use, the law is only really concerned with sellers. So if you happen to be in possession of any drug, it could be heroin, could be Dilaudid or OxyContin, anything like that. As long as it's in your possession for personal use, um, no, the law does not crack down on you. And it actually looks like in the near future, all drugs are going to be legalized for personal use.
Richard, that's not what the law was meant in place as far as Canadian law. And when you actually look at the link that I think you need to read the link that I sent you more clearly. One thing I can actually say, regardless as to how you term it or anything like that, it's a research chemical. It's meant for research purposes only. Now, Canada is not going to obviously go after sellers. It's sort of like crack, in other words. Usually, the police in America won't really go after the crackheads. They go after the drug dealers.
Yeah.
They don't go after crackheads. So in this case, you purchasing these is similar to you being a crackhead. In other words, to where
So that'll
or
depend
no,
on the state for one thing. If you're in somewhere like Portland, yeah, they don't really care about personal users. If you're in somewhere like Florida, no, they will charge you personally if you're in possession of something like meth or heroin, regardless of the quantity. It'll just be a higher class felony because then they can add it with like intent to sell. But no, in Canada, it's a fair bit different. We're quite a lot more liberal when it comes to our drug laws. And again, just because something is sold under the legal exemption of a research chemical, that doesn't mean that the person who is in possession of it needs to use it for as a research chemical. So if I ordered it legally online through the research chemical exemption, I don't have to use it as a research chemical. I can use it for personal use. Like again, where in the Canadian Criminal Code does it say I cannot use a research chemical for personal use?
well, just in the name itself that that the chemicals are only supposed to be used for research purposes.
Yeah, so
Using you're not
that's
you're not but you're not using it for research purposes. You're using it
so
for personal.
that's for sellers. That law is designed for sellers so that they don't trick consumers into thinking that they can use this for some personal benefit. Um, so where in the Canadian Criminal Code does it have these guidelines for personal use?
That's just the thing. There aren't. It just show
Okay, so
the
then you
link.
admit it's not illegal for me to use it for personal use.
It's illegal, but that's
You just admitted that there's nothing in the Canadian Criminal Code making it so that I can't use it for personal use.
You're not supposed to use it for personal
Well,
use.
it doesn't matter. There's you just admitted there's
Yes,
nothing in the Canadian Criminal
Richard,
Code.
Richard, Richard, let's put that to
Okay,
the
okay.
side.
If the police, if
I'm
the
already,
police were to arrest me and they found the TB500 in my refrigerator, and I told them I'm using it for personal use, what charge could they give me?
they're not going to give you a charge just for the same reason why that a crackhead isn't charged. They're looking for drug dealers. They're
Okay,
not
well,
looking.
you're claiming that this is illegal. So if they had the prerogative to arrest me because they didn't like me, what charge could they give me?
If I was still in law enforcement, I wouldn't charge you at all. I would just simply try to find out who the seller was.
Yeah, so you said it's
But Richard,
illegal for me to do this. So if there were police that didn't like me and they wanted to charge me, I know you'd be nice enough not to do that to me, but say if there were some bad cops who are assholes, what could they charge me with?
you know what? I don't know really.
Right, because it's not illegal for me to use it for personal
But I'm
use.
sure that they can. I'm sure they can find some charges for you
Well, yeah,
if
they
they
could look
want
in my knife drawer and say that this knife is not the right length or it opens too easy or something like that, but with
But
regards to the peptides, what they couldn't charge me with anything.
well, they would probably treat you like a typical crackhead. We don't arrest crackheads. Whenever they buy drugs. Okay. In your sense, you're pretty much putting yourself in a position of a crackhead. The police
No,
don't arrest crackheads.
no, again, you're the one who claimed this is illegal, so I understand that there's the law
It
and
was
then there's
legal
the law,
originally.
quote unquote. I understand that even though something can be illegal, there just isn't a political will to arrest a certain class of criminal. But you said it's illegal, and you said that it is outlined in the Canadian Criminal Code that peptides are illegal for personal use. So I asked you, where in the Canadian Criminal Code does it say it's illegal? You couldn't give me that answer. And you
It's not going
admitted there's nothing they could charge me with if they were to arrest me.
to, Richard. It's not going to say specifically that particular peptide. It's not going to
They
say that.
have
There's
to.
like there's
So
hundreds of
there's
different peptides.
so wait. There's classes of drugs. You can ban classes of drugs. So one class of drugs might be opiates. One class of drugs might be GABA receptor agonists. One
So you
class of drugs might be methamphetamines. You don't have to ban every single type of drug under that classification. Peptides would just have its own classification. And again,
but
under the Canadian Criminal Code, it is legal to sell as long as you're selling them as research chemicals, and they are legal to buy and consume for personal use.
okay. Would you at least admit that you're bending the rules?
No. Like
Okay.
again, what rule am I bending? Like, where in the Canadian Criminal Code does it say you cannot buy these drugs and use it for personal use?
Oh boy, it would take me hours to actually explain it to you, and but here's the thing, there, Richard. Months ago you started taking nicotine tablets, which you said which you argued with me saying that, and I had told you that they would only work temporarily and then they would stop being effective. You disagree with me; they stopped working,
Where did
and
you get the idea they stopped working?
let me finish where I'm getting at here on this, okay? And now you're taking peptides. Do you? But here's the thing: you're injecting stuff. You've taken nicotine tablets. So, at what point in time do you feel that that you probably need to change your diet? Because for someone that promotes a vegan diet, you seem to be taking a lot of drugs. You're taking things that I would never take. I would definitely never take peptides.
Dude,
You
didn't
want to know
you
why?
like take pro hormones?
I took pro hormones. I took steroids here.
Yeah, so you took shit that literally fucking destroys your liver.
Yeah,
Were eventually banned. You can't even legally buy them anymore. But you're
yeah.
saying you wouldn't take peptides, which, yeah, there's a lack of human research, but they've also not been shown to be harmful.
Yeah, I've taken those and I'm paying for it, which is why I'm trying to educate you not to take the stuff here.
Okay,
Okay.
well,
Yeah,
I've done my own research on how these drugs work, and I've seen research on human side effects, and I've also tried to find as many people anecdotally who've taken them. And I made an educated decision. I'm not going to say these are entirely perfectly 100% safe, but I did my own research and I came to the conclusion that a 1 to 2 week course of these peptides would not harm me in all likelihood.
well, you're going to end up in my position. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I doubt it since these peptides don't really pass through your liver.
Oh boy. Anything else you want to discuss there?
Um,
Because
no, I think.
I can't seem to because I can't seem to get through your head there.
Well, you said the nicotine stopped working. I don't know where you got that idea.
You said it on your live stream.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you did. I can go to Veganism Exposes
What
channel
did
and
I say? Okay, well, Veganism Exposed takes me way out of context, and he will trim like sentences so that it sounds like I'm saying something completely different. But what do you think I said?
okay. Are you still taking nicotine pills?
Yeah.
Okay. It said, I mean, on your live stream when I can pull it up there, that you weren't taking that you no longer were taking nicotine pills and that you had to take more because they were being less effective.
No, that's not what I said. He probably trimmed down what I said to make it sound like I was saying something different. I made mention that if you keep taking them, you develop an insensitivity to them. But again, I only take them when I kind of need to. So if I'm having a particularly stressful day and I get anxious or agitated, particularly when I start getting like anger issues and agitation, I'll take them. But then on days where I don't have that, I just don't take them. And sometimes for several days, I won't take any nicotine. And because of that, I maintain sensitivity. So I don't
Okay,
need to pop like, 20 tablets in a day to get the same effect.
boy. I have to say, Richard, you are the most healthiest vegan out there, popping nicotine tablets and injecting peptides.
What
Let me
is okay,
let
so
me
first of all, can you tell me what health problems nicotine lozenges specifically cause? And I'd also like you to acknowledge there are people who eat meat who also use nicotine for its medicinal properties, and they're also taking other drugs.
well, I mean, I can't say anything about it because I smoke cigars, which has nicotine in it.
Yeah, it's
But
probably
you
worse for you too, because some of it's getting in your lungs.
right, but did a doctor prescribe you nicotine tablets?
They don't need to.
I mean, but did a
I
doctor recommend Richard,
A doctor
just hear
didn't
me
tell me
here,
to lift weights. A doctor didn't tell me to eat cherries. Like, I don't need all my information to come from a doctor specifically for it to be a good idea.
but you quote doctors on some of your debates. Do you know?
No, not really. I usually rely
Yes, you
on
do.
research itself. Sometimes I'll mention specific researchers. I don't think I've mentioned a particular doctor quite a while.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna get back to the only thing I can recommend for you, Richard, is that you're going down the same path I went down when I was your age. And you need to take a detour, my friend. But
All right. I'm
other than that,
32, right?
yeah, I do realize that.
Okay.
And that's when most of my stuff started there. So
Okay. Well,
I'm not gonna recommend you- don't do the same thing that I did, which It's pretty much what you're doing. Stay away from the peptides. Stop. Don't take those anymore.
Well, the only reason I took peptides was because I had a nagging injury that wasn't really getting any better, even though I had significant time off. Um, and if I ever do peptides again, it's not like I'm going to take regular courses practically indefinitely. I did tear my tricep. It's a small tear right at the elbow where it inserts, and that's because I broke that elbow mountain biking. That's where the tear occurred, right at the break. I might take BPC 157 and do local injections into the elbow to help it heal a bit faster. But I appreciate the concern. I understand where you're coming from, but I have some idea of what the drugs I'm taking do, and I obviously avoid things that would damage my lungs, damage my liver, possibly cause cancer in the future.
Cousin, you don't know shit about peptides, my friend. I sold peptides. I'm one of the original people that sold peptides, and I'm going to tell you right now, don't take them. Don't buy no BPC 157. Don't get any SARMs. Don't do any of this stuff here. I'm just letting you know. But you're going to do what you're going to do. Okay. I'm just letting you know, don't take this stuff. We can argue back and forth as far as the legalities or not, but I'm going to be honest with you. You shouldn't be taking this shit to begin with. If your vegan diet is not working, then find a better vegan diet there. But don't. I
I
mean,
I don't know
don't.
why there's an assumption that my vegan diet isn't working. Like you're saying, if I had a different diet, I wouldn't have broken my elbow mountain biking.
Well, diet makes a determination as far as recovery time. I had a messed up elbow as well, but it was fully healed in like 5 or 6 weeks. And I'm a lot older than you, and yet your injuries seem to take longer than my
Well,
injury.
again, I broke this elbow last year, and it's a break that won't heal. There's basically a bone fragment that got just chipped off. Um,
Okay.
and the tricep tore right at that junction where the break occurred. That's why the tear happened, and that's also why it's taking a little while to heal. I think it's been exactly 4 or 5 weeks so far. I'm able to train. I got elbow wraps to put pressure off the elbow, and I just started lifting again. I'm able to bench 275 for sets of five pretty easily, and without really any pain.
Good deal. Are
So,
I mean, I'm just curious, are you taking anything else, mushrooms or anything else other than peptides and nicotine tablets?
well, only the Wellbutrin that was prescribed for depression.
But no mushrooms or anything, right?
I haven't done mushrooms in quite a while. I think it's been at least 2 years, something like that.
Okay. No, I'll take your word for it. But I got nothing else really to say. I mean, that's just it. You're gonna say that peptides are legal. I'm gonna say they're illegal. So why don't we just leave it at that?
All right,
Because
fair
there's
enough. I'll just
yeah,
say that I'm right and you're wrong.
and I'll say that I'm right and you're wrong.
All right, but we all know that I'm right.
Well, you're gonna find out how right you are if you keep taking those peptides. But anything else you want to ask before I get back to my live stream?
No, man, just take care.
You too.
All right, see ya. That was pretty fucking funny. Why would he say that like I'm wrong when he doesn't even have an argument? It's so funny. Let's see, Dodo donated $2 after this.